Alright, so in the previous section we covered variables. In this section we're going to be taking those variables and putting them into a formula and actually creating something that's going to spit out a price. So this is where things can get a little bit complicated, so I want to really take my time and walk through this with you, answer some of the most common questions that I get, and try to make this as simple as possible. So let's dive into it. So first, little side thing, I'm going to change this to dark mode just because the brightness is sort of getting to me a little bit. So let's turn this to dark mode. Everything's going to function the exact same. Now, here's the formula we were just editing in the previous section. You see there's a bunch of random input types that are just testing. So I'm not going to use this formula. I'm going to go start from scratch. And so first I'm going to go ahead and click New Calculator. Now, I do quickly want to touch on the quick draft section. This is useful if you kind of already know what it is you're trying to build. Let's say house washing. If you know, okay, I want to do house washing, these are the variables I want to ask for, you can type it out and this will build out a first version for you. So I want to show you how to do that quick, and then I'm going to show you how to adjust the formula and really dial in the pricing. So let's go ahead and describe this. I'm going to use voice to type here, so the audio may cut out for a second, but in either case, you should still be able to see it showing up here. House washing formula. Ask for the square footage of the house, the material with the options being vinyl, aluminum, stucco, and brick. Also ask for the height of the house with the options being single story, split level, 2-story, and 3-story. And then also ask how many sides the customer wants cleaned. Okay, now you'll see here I currently have 0 variables and no formula expression whatsoever. And now we do. And that only took a few seconds. So now you've got square footage, and you see it built this out as well. It's a pricing formula, okay? Square footage, material type, story height, and then the way that these numbers apply to the formula. So this is where some people get caught up. Sorry, my voice type was still on. So you can see here we got square footage multiplied by material type multiplied by story height multiplied by sides to clean. Or excuse me, these are actually additions. So if you look here, this is square footage multiplied by material type. Sometimes the visual guide is easier for people to see. So you can see this is grouped in. Group 1 is basically taking square footage multiplied by material, and then it's being added to story height, and then it's being added to sides to clean multiplied by 50. I'm not a fan of that method, but that's how I decided to do it. You can easily adjust this however you like, okay? So how are these numbers being put? So let's go to material type. So you can see for vinyl, it's currently set to 0.15, which is essentially the same as being 15 cents per square foot for vinyl. Aluminum is 18, stucco is 0.2, brick is 0.22. So in this example, if stucco were selected, then it would be the square footage multiplied by 0.2. If vinyl were selected, then this number would be 0.15. Then we're adding the story height. So it's $50 if it's single story, $75 if it's split level, $100 if it's 2-story, $150 if it's 3-story. For some people, the way they do their pricing, they like to do it that way. My personal opinion is I would rather swap this out with a multiplication, and you'll see how that's going to change this here. So now you're taking these 3 variables, multiplying them, and then adding them to this group. And then what I would do is drop this down. So if it's single story, we'll keep it 1 because that's the base rate. That's the easiest. If it's 2-story, let's say we want to charge 34% more, or actually this is split level, so let's go 20% more. If it's 2-story, we'll go 30% more. And if it's 3 stories, we'll go 60% more than the base rate, okay? And so now you can see how that would update there. Then it's adding sides to clean multiplied by 50. Again, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of that. I would personally do the same thing I just did there. So let's say I don't like how that formula is set up. So I would say, okay, number of sides to clean. And they set this as a number. But if I say I want to switch this, I want to use let's go stepper just for fun. Well, actually, for a section like this, it's actually probably better to go with a drop down. So I'll go to drop down. And then here's another cool little thing I want to show you guys if you're editing this. You can go to this quick edit tool. Now what I could do is I could go to the options here and I can add each of our options. So I could add 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides. You know what, maybe I'll just do 1 side, add another option, 2 sides, right? And then if it's 1 side, maybe I charge 30% the price of a full house wash. If it's 2 sides, maybe I charge 60% the price of a full house wash. And then what I could do is I could come up here to this editor tool and I would say, so you can see I currently have these 2 options, 1 side and 2 side. Add the options for 3 sides and full house wash. Now with this example, it's only 2 questions. So you might be thinking, why would you waste your time? Why not just go through and fill it out like normal? And the reason is, well, I usually would do that, but I wanted to showcase how that works. And so now you can see it added the options for 3 sides and full house. And let's say we also wanted to add an option. Well, before I get ahead of myself, let's go ahead and test this. So let's go ahead and save. And then let's update the formula. So this is now going to be a multiplication as well. And then we can get rid of this 50. Now let's go ahead and save. And then we're going to test out the formula. So this is our new house wash formula. I didn't update an icon or anything, which is why it has the weird emoji. But let's keep things simple. Let's go 2,000 square feet. Let's say vinyl siding. Let's say 2 stories. And then let's say we want a full house wash. Skip the lead input info. And there's our price, $468. Now, depending on your pricing, that may be accurate, that may be a bit off. Now, disregard the fact that there's a missing icon. Like I said, I did not update an icon. You'd obviously want to take the time and personalize it before you do the marketing. But for the pricing formula itself, that's not bad, right? And the cool thing is it's either way off or it's way too high or way too low. And you can go through and tweak it. It's just a matter of updating it and dialing it in to whatever your pricing is. Now let's have a little bit of fun, and I'm going to touch on adding, let's say you want to make your formula more complex, right? In this example is house washing, super simple, but what if a customer has oxidized siding? What if they have soot stains? What if they have tiger stripes on the gutters? These are different options, so maybe you want to have upsell possibilities. Now, there's going to be a whole section dedicated to just upsells and like conditional logic, but I do want to touch on this briefly. So let's head back to formulas. And there's actually another thing too. I want to touch on conditional questions. So a conditional question would be a question that only shows if another question has been answered a certain way. So let's say with this particular formula, it's not a complex formula, so conditionals are a bit more complicated. But let's say the user selects aluminum, or let's say oxidized, right? Well, let's say they say vinyl siding. We're going to ask, is it oxidized? And then this would be just a drop down, yes or no. And you could also add the option for not sure. Add variable. So is it oxidized? Okay. So now let's say we want to make it so that this question only shows if the user selects vinyl siding. So conditional display, we're going to toggle this on, click the drop down. We're going to choose material type equals vinyl. Default value when hidden will go 0. And this doesn't really matter because I'm only using this for conditional upsell. So then what we could do is go ahead and click save. And I would actually get into this as well. Here's where we would go upsell. And then this upsell would be oxidation removal. And then it would be a percent of service. So I would go like 112% or something like that. And then this would be conditional, so it would only be like, is it oxidized equals yes, okay? So let's go ahead and click save. And now let's head back to the call screen, and I'm going to show you that oxidized question is only going to show if we select vinyl. So that's like the concept of, okay, so you can see we're asking the same 4 questions, square footage. Now in this case, let's say aluminum, stucco, brick, nothing happens. We select vinyl. Now you see that question is added because the conditional requirement was met. Let's say single story. Let's say full house wash. And let's say, yes, it's oxidized. Go to the end. And now you're going to see this recommended add-on, oxidation removal. Okay, so instead of affecting the actual price of the normal house wash, it serves as just like an upsell. Now I'm just scratching the surface here. There's going to be an entire section dedicated to this part, but I did want to mention it just to open your mind to the possibility and start getting you primed for more advanced formulas, right? The simple stuff, you're probably already understanding it. By this point, it's basic math, basic formula, and then you're asking for different inputs. Now that covers the core part of how the variables work. There's more to it. If you have any additional questions, I know this can be a little bit complicated. Don't hesitate to contact support down here and let us know, and we can make specific videos for your specific use case. If you're trying to build a formula that there's no template for, or it's something that is a bit more complex, we're happy to walk you through it. So I'll see you guys in the next one.